Just give me a second. Okay, let's kick off our biweekly developer call. Hey everyone, so I put the agenda here in the chat. Okay, let's kick off. So, maybe we want to start with you, Andrew, if that sounds good. You wanted to screen share?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me just.
Oh, it says it's disabled.
Yeah, I have to. Quickly hand you the host. So it should be good to go now.
All right. Let's see if this works.
And I had also on the agenda maybe an update on swap. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
All right.
Got it.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So let's get started then. I'm gonna be showcasing this new feature that we just shipped on Adina, which is support for GRC20 tokens. And once you boot up Adina, what you want to do is click on Manage Tokens and click on this small little add icon on the top right. And once you do that, it'll take you to the Add Custom Token page. And once you click on this drop-down button, it will show you all the tokens, GRC20 tokens available on testnet 3 of Gno.land. And you can search with anything, the name, the symbol, and the path. And for the sake of this showcase, I've actually pre-funded this account with some food tokens. So I'm gonna search just that. And what do you know? We have 3 tokens with the same names and symbols, but it's fine because we can distinguish them with the path, and the correct one is the top one. So we're gonna click on that. And you can double check to make sure everything's correct with the information right here. And we're gonna click on add. And it's gonna pop up right here. And once we return to the wallet, you can see that it's been added. And next, we're gonna try sending these to another account. So we're gonna click on this button right here, click on add account, and create a new account. And similarly, we're just gonna add the food token. Click on deposit, click on copy, and return to the first account. We're gonna click on send, hit on food token, and let's try sending 1,000 food tokens. And you can double check the recipient's address right here. And once you click on send, it's gonna take you to this history page, and your transaction should load up. And it usually takes around 10 to 20 seconds for the latest transactions to pop up. And that's because the TS indicer isn't finished yet. But once that's complete, it should decrease the loading time. So there we go. And we can confirm that the token has been sent on the account right here. And let's try doing the transaction on GnoScan by clicking on this account right here, this icon right here, I mean. And it'll take you to the transaction details page on GnoScan. And once you scroll down, you can see the full log of the transaction. And keep in mind that we're gonna make improvements to this page, this transaction details page, to make it more intuitive for end users. Because right now you can distinguish that this contract call is a GRC20 transaction by checking the package path and the function. But once we make improvements, this part right here is gonna display the amount of tokens you've sent, the addresses involved in this transaction, such as the recipient and the sender. And yeah, that's about it. And once we return to the history page of Adena, you actually notice that the image of the token is actually displayed as a question mark. And that's actually because the image for this token hasn't been registered yet. And where you want to do that is this new repository that we just opened called Gno.land token resources. And I'm actually gonna share this link in chat. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to find the chat. There we go. And excuse me. And we actually manage all the static data of all tokens on Adena, such as the descriptions, the path or the website, etc. And we actually let anyone just submit their token information here. All you have to do is follow the instructions right here, fill out these information and submit a PR. And the purpose of this repo is to actually have a place for developers or builders to upload or find all the necessary resources to for their projects, basically. And we want to keep this as permissionless as possible. So yeah, expect this to stay open and transparent. And we're going to do everything to ensure that it's up to date. And yeah, I think that's it for GRC 20 demonstration. And just before we finish up, I just want to showcase another cool feature. And this is a simple dApp that one of our developers came up with. And think of it as a demo application. So what we want to do is click on the button right here, and it'll prompt the user to connect to this website. And once we do that, it displays the connection success message. And you can see that the on the top right, you can see that Adena has been connected to this website. And we're gonna try sending some knots from this website. We're gonna enter our own address here and enter our second account's address right here and switch back to the one that we've connected with. And let's try sending 10 new knots. Click on execute and you'll see the approved transaction page. And we're gonna, well, before you click on approve, you can always see the full transaction data to know what you're signing up for. And we're gonna click on approve. And it's gonna return the success transaction sent message. And just to confirm that it went through, we're gonna go to history and yeah, I think this is it. Yep, this is the right one. And yep, it went through. So that's all for the showcase. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, and Andrew, just a quick, you mentioned with the new, with the no token resource GitHub page, you just want to clarify, you mentioned that the purpose of the repo is to upload. Do you mind just reiterating what the purpose is, what you want people to do?
Oh yeah, sure. It's basically for anyone to share or just upload any resources associated with their project, basically. So if you're a I don't know, if you want to create a decentralized exchange, you would need all the information regarding the token, right? You would need its image, description, links to website, and this would be the place you would look for when you're looking for those information, and it would be the place for token deployers basically to submit whatever information they want people to see. right? And we want to keep this permissionless as possible. So just anyone, any builder or any developer can fully utilize whatever's in this repository. Does that clarify the purpose?
I hope so for everyone.
Right. Yeah, I think that's it.
And I think the last time you guys mentioned also working on, is it the swap?
Oh yeah, yeah, we're
Is there
actually working on. Oh, pardon me. Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering if you wanted to share a link and have a quick update about that, or if that's maybe for next time.
Yeah, I think that's maybe for next time. The next time, because the last couple of weeks we've been pretty overwhelmed with all the work for Adina. So yeah, maybe during the next call we can share an update for no swap.
There is a quick question, Andrew, from.
Oh, is it in the chat?
Yeah, no, sorry, it's on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Is there any doc for dApp creation on No? I guess that's probably not related to what you just presented.
For dApp creation, no. I think the best place would be the Gno.land developer portal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And I think I can actually share the link here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna post it in the chat. So if you can
yeah,
forward it to the
let's do it.
YouTube or whatever, Dolly. Thank you.
That's also done by OnBlock. So
yeah, and once you scroll down, you can from the tutorial section, head over to the build a demo app page, and you can basically build the one that we just showcased. And for all the prerequisites and all the information, head over to the docs section and you'll find everything you need. And also, if you need help, you can just reach out to anyone on Discord.
great.
All right, anything else? Oh, or any other questions?
Does anyone have questions?
It's not a question, but about your Explorer, about
yeah, go ahead.
Gno.scan. So you display the JSON output of the transaction. How do you plan to display the, how to say it, the real foo20 token if when I call it from another contract? What do you want to display? So yeah, about a topic we discussed during the last weeks with intercontracts and sometimes contracts owning assets. What it will look like on Gno.scan if I call a contract, DAO contract, whatever, that interact with a GRC20 token. So it's not about Adina, but about Gno.scan. How do you want to display information? Because I think it would make sense for such explorers to not only look at the surface of the transaction, but see that it's actually a contract directly called by a user, but this contract will call assets on other dependencies.
Right. Dongwon, you want to take that question?
Yeah, just in general. Sorry. Yes, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we plan to implement tokens page in Gno.scan so that every GRC20 tokens will be there. But for your question, I think your suggestion would be better here because we don't actually have a specific plan for just tokens when you use for contract interaction. Do you have any suggestion?
No, I'm just thinking about this topic at the moment. How to, Gno is about giving many more transparencies than any other blockchains. How can we make it transparent, including for the, for flows involving multiple contracts? So to be honest, I will probably make a demo, but it will be CLI based. But let's discuss. And if you have resources on this, please ping me on DM because yeah, that's a topic I want to investigate.
Okay, sure.
And I think
I
think it's interesting for Ilker too. Ilker is there, I think, because for his IDE and infrastructure tools, he is planning to provide not only what happens in terms of stakes, but what is the change on the state. And yeah, we need to invent a new UX to be clear, to be transparent, to be obvious about what happened. Because yeah, on Gno it will be probably very frequent that a single transaction has an impact on 2, 3, 4 realms. And I think GnoScan can have a great role here to explore new Explorer UX. I don't think transaction will be enough on an Explorer. I think the debug part, the CMOR part of your Explorer should be new. It's not something common on other projects. So I just encourage you to dig more this topic and explore and share your work and ideas. I will probably write proof of concept in CLI, mostly focus on the content. But since you are good in UI, UX, feel free to take this as a new challenge.
Okay, and we'll also open source the GnoScan front end, probably in May. So you can participate in development together when we open source it.
Okay.
Right? I don't know, did anyone else have questions or? It's not. Thanks, Andrew.
All right, you're welcome. My pleasure. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. Now we also on the contributor side, I think Sage is not here, or Ian is not here, but we've got Zach. Zach is our resident tinkerer. And I noticed that there's the microblog topic. I don't know if that's something you want to quickly share.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I unfortunately didn't bring a showcase like Andrew's, but I can next time, maybe when it's in the test net. But maybe a little introduction. So I think I'm an example of a Go Web 2 programmer who's kind of using Gno to transition myself into Web 3. So I've been trying to do a lot of prototyping around figuring out what I can do with Web 3, what I can do with Gno. And the microblog is my first realm. I'm interested in kind of incentivized social networks. So it's kind of a starter to that. But right now it's basically a blog without titles, kind of like Twitter, where each user has their own page. But I like this Gno because everyone's page is based on their address and you post just with your address, with your Gno tone. This API is very, very simple. It's a nice little starter, I think, for learning for me and maybe for other people. And I'm documenting that a little bit as well. And I guess I'll share maybe as I'm going through coming from Go. Everyone probably already knows this, but just for people on the call, like I'm encountering little roadblocks, like things that use reflection, like sort.slice and the encoding binaries. And I can work around them, but it's coming from Go and then finding little things in Go aren't there was a little of a surprise, but now I know, so now I'm okay with it. But I understand this is a language that's evolving, so I'm rolling with it. Yeah, and so for the next couple weeks, I'm interested in continuing the microblog, and then I have some other ideas around more art and music and social networks, kind of exploring what Web3 can do that maybe I can't do with just Web 2. And that still remains to be seen clearly for me, but I'm learning and enjoying it so far. I think that's about all I have.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe in like 2 weeks we can look at the microblog and hopefully get a realm going.
Yep.
Just like we talked about music one.
Yep, and I hope to get a couple more realms this month. Yeah.
Okay, looks like shall we maybe pass on to Milos on the JS SDK?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give people an introduction, we've been doing some development over the past few weeks regarding. I mean, I always say like Klein is like the best name. You can think of it as basically an SDK that you would import within your dApp. So if you're building anything specifically in like JavaScript or TypeScript, and you need a way to sort of facilitate communication with a Gno chain, you would sort of import this package. So in a way, it is like an SDK. It's currently called the Tendermint 2 JavaScript client, and it's specifically only focused right now for Tendermint 2 networks. We are going to have a like micro package along with this that is for Gno. So Gno specific stuff that you can do. So like deploy contracts, do contract calls, stuff like that. Right now, what the client can do is you can basically use it for any kind of wallet manipulation. You can use it for any kind of RPC communication within the node. And it's like mostly if you come from like a Web3 space where you've used existing tools like Web3.js or Ethers, this is exactly what this is. And it actually follows sort of like the organization of Ethers. So people who are very much used to like the concept of providers and wallets, they're going to feel like right at home with the JS client because it also has like these exact concepts. A wallet is something that's tied to like a certain account. You can use it to easily manage transactions, signatures, verify signatures, interact with the chain in like some ways. Provider is basically what you would use to do RPC calls, interact with the RPC in any kind of way. So this is pretty much what this is about. It's for any kind of project that's basically for web developers who are building dApps for Gno. They would use a package like this, or really like the micro package that we're going to release to interact with the Gno chain directly, so that they don't have to manually like do JSON RPC requests and parse ABCI and construct transactions and do like all this like different things. They would just like use this package that does everything for them. And this was primarily inspired by the folks over at Adina, because when I was just inquiring about like how they were doing some stuff, and I noticed that they do a lot of this stuff manually, and no Web3 project should do this manually. We should have like a centralized package for this, and this is like exactly what this is. So yeah, the package it still says that it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
We still have to do user testing. It has like coverage and stuff, but we still need to do specific integration testing with Adina. And yeah, hopefully by the end of the week, we're going to have the micro package for Gno. So specifically what the micro package is going to be, it's just going to be an extension of this wallet interface for Gno, where you can deploy packages, you can do contract calls, you can like list contract functions, stuff like that. I think we have like an ongoing issue on, I think it's on the Gno GitHub. It was opened by someone from Adina, and we discussed like the exact needs of a package like this. So yeah. By the end of the week, we're gonna have the micro package, and we're gonna have the documentation live. It's gonna be live on the developer portal. And yeah, stay tuned for that. If this sounds like something you would use in your projects, please use it, because we need to figure out whether or not like the API works for everybody, whether or not we can improve something and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if it's something you need, then we share it with the larger community, get some maybe testing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. This initial phase is we're sort of we're not limiting. I mean, it's like an open repo. Anybody can use this. But we're gonna sort of put on the training wheels for Adina, and then we're gonna see. We're gonna try to see an integration in other projects as well.
I have a question. When I was thinking about creating clients, I was thinking about how can we mix the public-facing RPC that won't depend on making transactions and using gas, so basically calling the render function, but with arguments, with paths, etc. And yeah, how you manage to have a client that could not only make transactions, but potentially have a read-only mode. Do you plan to do this, or do you prefer to split these two needs? Because as a dApp developer, I think I will need both, with some things that you can see before using a wallet connection and something once you are connected.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you want to manage this?
Yeah, the idea is to completely split out this functionality. Like the reason we went with this like split approach in the beginning is it's going to be much harder to extract it out later. So if you have like separated out node functionality and separated out Gno functionality, then it's going to be much easier to manage. But yeah, it's going to be in this micro package specifically. Any kind of transaction manipulation. So yeah, just to give you like a clarification, this Tendermint2.js client does not at all assume to understand what kind of messages are being passed through. It only understands like how to sign the messages, how to verify the signatures, how to asks for like account balances, stuff like this. Like so, everything that is common for any kind of Tendermint2 chain. What is specific to Gno or specific to any other chain that's based off of Tendermint2, they're going to have like their own specific package for interpreting the actual messages and for constructing the actual messages. So yeah, it's definitely going to be separate.
Yeah, and the day you work on it, I'm curious about how you want to parse the render function output, because right now it's just a string. But I think it will make sense for people that want to integrate the Gno chain on external dApp websites to have basic parsing. Not sure yet. Maybe we just want to give the output and let them do their parsing, but it may make sense, especially if we start having famous rendering libraries like a UI packages that you can import to have a good, I don't know, menu, navbar, breadcrumb. Maybe we can have something that supports having, I don't know, a query path that will say format equal client. And when format equal client, it will render differently, so you can parse it more easily. I don't know, but yeah, I was thinking about this. Creating a client is not enough if your goal is to not only make a transaction, but also consume the chain. And it's native to support parsing and understanding types when you make a transaction. But the render function, yeah, is actually very innovative and powerful in the chain, but its support for a client will be hard to manage, I think. So yeah, feel free to think about this early, because if you want to make the official client, I think it will be the main question very soon. Do you have experience on Ethereum when people want to create the read-only part of the dApp? Are they only and always depending on things like Infura and other proxies that will display the information with a transaction, or is there something built in with Web3.js, etc., to make RPC calls without transactions?
So you can do, yeah, I don't think, yeah, there's no way for you to interact with the chain without creating at least like an ETH call. If you just like want to read off data from the chain. So in a sense, you are like actually you are creating transactions. And yeah, I mean, you also have like different RPC endpoints for reading information, like no data, for example. You want to know what the current status for syncing is, or for example, right? Like this data is not going to be on the chain specifically, like it's going to be in some kind of in-memory variable that you read from the syncer. But yeah, you have like a wide range of RPCs, specifically for the thing you mentioned for output. We're not actually set on any kind of API, so nothing is sort of set in stone. Regarding like how we parse the actual output, I mean, it's really up to the community what would make sense. If like raw output is what everybody wants and they just want to build tools around how they want to parse the raw output, like, you know, that's fine too. But yeah, it's nothing is set in stone. And if anybody like has any additional suggestions or feature requests, or, you know, just like improvement examples, it's we're welcoming like the whole spectrum of suggestions. Yeah.
My suggestion is just feature request having a way that doesn't rely on transaction to interact with the render function of contracts and supporting path. As soon as you have this and you support returning the raw output of the string, just the raw output, then I think we can just wait for people to write famous UI libraries on Gno with their sister client extension from the JS part. So you can create a protocol which can be Markdown centric or not between the two. But yeah, feature request, do not forget the render func that won't cost gas. And make sure that you return the output without, because right now the raw output of render is string, the length, double quote, and then the quoted output. If you can just make sure to parse this and return just the string, it would be nice.
Yeah, got it.
Thanks.
Anything else we need to talk about there? If not, I will. We have it's benchmarking with Pitar and Morgan, but it looks like it's also migrated to a new issue. I don't know if there's any updates. Pitar is not here, so we'll also miss out on the joke later. But Morgan, is there anything that you wanted to update on the benchmarking? And I believe another pull request then that was started by maybe Antonio around the topic.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so as for the benchmarking, I discussed a bit. I remember I discussed a bit with Antonio, and he basically picked up on what I was saying on the issue specifically that I remember you were referring to. Well, the general idea is that we want to have a benchmarking dashboard where we can see if there's been performance improvements or regressions when we change the code. And we found the tool to do that, which will track which can track you with our GitHub action, what the changes are in the performance we're using Go benchmarks. Although, yes, on this one, seeing as I've been off for the past week, and Antonio actually started working on it. I think he's far better suited to answer this than I am.
Yeah, I have some research about different tools that we can use to execute the benchmarks and to create like a dashboard, like showing us the history about the speed of different Go benchmarks. But after having a look into that, I think we need to do more research, because if we are using the standard GitHub machines to execute our GitHub actions, they eventually will stop working, because executing benchmarks takes a lot of resources and is something that GitHub doesn't like. So we should think about different alternatives, like running our own executor. That is like a concept that GitHub is able to provide you. That is like you can have like your own machine to execute your GitHub actions. So we can configure everything on our repository to execute our benchmarks on a separated machine, and that will work. There are some caveats to have into account, but yeah, it's something that we need more time to discuss and to find a proper solution.
And just to to add something, we created a repository 2 weeks ago, I think, github.com/gno.land/benchmarks, where we started just storing recurring reports. So yeah, we are thinking about how we can use the data, but we are already creating data. And the goal of this repo is right now, is to have a dashboard, something we can try follow, keep track of what's happening if we have regressions or the evolution. And the other thing is about mixing various sources. So right now we have Supernova, which is basically an integration test that will give good metrics about transaction per second in general. But we can also mix it with pure Go benchmarks on some functions or other tools. But yeah, we plan to have a performance dashboard, because we have multiple performance topics coming soon, and it would be nice to understand what we are doing and if something makes sense. But the goal is not to limit to performance. We want a dashboard to keep track of the evolution and to have the CI creating alerts as soon as we are creating regressions, or to help us find the regression.
Okay, so just quickly, then
Can I add something here? Sorry, just want to add something. So we do need performance benchmarking if we want to make optimizations. But I'd say we don't. What if we just punt that until after launch? Which means because an alternative thing to do, I guess, it is in the same vein, but it's measuring the cost, the actual CPU cost. It's measuring the CPU cost of every opcode, and I think what we need is some tooling and maybe like a file for every operation that has like setup and a for loop, and tries to measure how long it takes. And then I think we want to get some understanding of a measure for every opcode, so that we can charge the right amount and set the constants right. So this is something we have to do before launch. And is also in the same vein as, if we do this, then this would also give us performance metrics. It wouldn't give us the integrated performance, right, of running a whole piece of code with libraries and all that, but but it is a measure that we need to measure. And the point is, I guess, to come up with some script that that tries to measure the cost for every operation and comes up with a suggestion for the constant values of opcode gas prices.
I have an ongoing PR going a little bit in that direction by providing a way to, when you use the Gno.dev CLI, to print the CPU cycles of your unit test. I can try to make something like the Go test cover, generating a coverage file, but here for the CPU cycles. So we can keep track in the benchmark repository of the evolution of CPU cycles and gas cost, etc. for each calls. Then for what you said about, another topic we need to address before the mainnet about tweaking the CPU cycles for gas cost. I think we can mix MyPR, so the 783, with dedicated unit test, unit test or something, but something that will test just very simple operations, a loop, condition, an assignment, calling the GC, whatever makes sense. And then we can generate the initial table of comparison between something happening and the underlying costs. But basically it's about 3 topics. One about having a way to report the usage and not only the second on memory, which is clearly not important at the moment, and not depending on and too much depending on specific hardware. So having a way to report interesting metrics, CPU cycles and cost and gas cost, being able to write tests or tool to generate the lowest level of CPU cycle per low level operation. So we have a comparison table. And then the third part will be about tweaking it. I don't know how exactly, maybe by mixing, I don't know, not machine learning, but data analysis and the result. Maybe some fuzzing too. Maybe we can try to run some fuzzing, and I don't know exactly, but first we need reporting tool and a correct test so we can think about the tweaking together. Because I'm not sure everyone understands what it means to tweak the CPU cycle gas cost. So we need to clarify everything first. So look at my PR, please, Jay, the 783. It's still in progress, but the goal was to make it more obvious for developers to understand not only if something works or not, but also how much it costs.
Okay, I'll take a look.
If you have suggestion, because I was looking for feedback about what kind of data and also the format, because it's not something right now. Gno.dev was following mostly the output format of Go, but this one is not something you have built in with Go. So if you have suggestion on content or format, I take it. And Ilker, this one is also for you, because I think the IDE should at some point show maybe not only the CPU cycle at the end of the test, but maybe on each line. Like, I don't remember which editor made this, but I remember a Go editor that was showing not only if a line was covered by a test, but how many times the count of pass through a single line. And it was useful to have like a color gradient, which is different between something that was tested once versus something that was tested millions of times. And maybe we could have something equivalent, visual indicator of what is the costly part, what is the slow part of your contract.
Speaking of no IDE, Ilker, I know you mentioned giving an update.
Hey, everyone.
You need to screen share? I think I made you co-host. No.
Okay. I will share the screen. Hey, you see my screen, right?
Yep.
So last time we had a quick overview to the IDE, right? To just quickly recap, I can like demonstrate you this again. So basically, to use the IDE, you go to a website on your browser, and then let's refresh the page. You connect your wallet with Adena right now, and right now I don't have any tokens. I always lose my mnemonic. And then you click to the plus button to open your project. We will refactor this screen, but right now in the screen you are able to open a real-more package in your or a root folder, entire root folder in your file system. And yeah, in the future, if the realm have some let's say some metadata, or let's say some sort of YAML file, you could also put some of the initial configuration here when you are creating your realm, and you select your root directory in the last part and open your project. Basically, we are using HTML5 file system API, so your code stays in your machine, and when you use this IDE, it doesn't need any backend server. It's completely serverless, except some APIs that it will consume to list the packages and realms for other functionality. But yeah, it's pretty fast because it is using your file system to access files. So in this case, I opened the NFT project before, but right now, since this is browser, it is asking me to grant the permission to access this file again. So, and as this error message states, I have to give the permission again. So I just clicked on the directory. Right now, you are not able to see it, but browser is asking me to give the permission. So I just click to the give access button. Then I am able to see the content of my file. You will be able to create different realms and packages by using the menu. You could filter by the realms and packages and create more by using the menu. And this is the nft.gno file. It's a realm, and I see this realm icon indicating that this directory is a realm in the file explorer. And there's this in the right corner, we have the action menu. So I don't want to go over the whole thing again, but I just want to mention the deploy button again. So you click to the deploy button, and then deploy is asking you, select the network. We are on testnet 3 right now in this version. And if I want to deploy my NFT realm, I just select it. I can select multiple realms or packages here, and then eventually I click to the deploy button to deploy this. So this is the deployment, production side of things. But I want to talk mostly about testing in this call. Maybe we can have a little discussion. So there's this test button in the right corner. So I mean, this test button, like once you click to it, it will actually run the unit tests and also the file tests for your packages and realms. And you will be able to interact with the IDE, and actually, it will navigate you to, fix any bugs if the tests fail. So it hasn't implemented yet in the UI, but I'm gonna show you the design. I think you see the design, right? So in here, so this wheel is actually opened when you click the test button. So in this case, we have the tests already run, let's say, and we have some errors. So if you look at the file explorer, you will see each individual file. These are the test files, and you will see an icon next to the files showing that, showing the failing number of failing tests. And if I go to the next screen, you will see that once I click to the file, I'm actually able to see which functions failed in this specific test file. I mean, in this case, the test unit and function is also failed in my tests. So, if I want to learn more about it, I just click to the item, and then I will see this kind of a UI. I mean, as you see, like in the content area, we see what went wrong with this failing test, which is test unit n. If you look at the top, you will see the error message coming from this test, and actually, if you also look at the code, it's automatically jumps to the failing test and kind of asking you to do the fix, or you could also go to the source code responsible. I mean, if it is either like your test is broken or your source code is broken, so you could also go to your source code and try to fix it there. And then we have the previous and next buttons, which helps you to jump between the failed tests. And at any time you could, if you look at the right corner in the bottom, you could click to the rerun test button once you have your fix, or you could just exit from this mode and go back to the original one. So this is the unit testing and file testing functionality and how it looks like. And I mean, right now we are using a backend API to run the tests, but at the same time we are working on compiling the VM into WASM, which needs some refactoring in the VM. And once that's done, we will be able to actually run the VM on the browser, entirely on the browser, and actually execute these tests on the browser itself without requiring to make an API call, which makes things fast. And also it gives us another opportunity. Like if we have the VM running on the browser, we could actually implement a debugger on the browser without creating complicated backend services. So the debugger is actually can be seen as state 2 of testing. So in the future, next to the test button, you will see a debugger button, and once you click the debugger, you will actually be able to, debug your realms and packages, right? And like in that UI, you will have, you will be presented that in a UI that you can actually like set some breakpoints, and you could also run some of the functions, kind of simulate them, and like when you run the function, you could also have a breakpoint inside, and you could also observe what happened. You observe the state in that for that function, and also observe the state, inspect the state for the entire VM in any time. So yeah, that will be huge, but it will come after we have the VM ported to WASM, compiled to WASM. Yeah, I think that's kind of the point. But I actually want to create a discussion from this, especially about the testing functionality and also the debugger that we are planning to implement. So if you have any ideas, about what we should put feature-wise into this debugger, it would be great to discuss, in this call or any time. But yeah, to implement a debugger, we also need to implement new functionality in the VM itself, because there is no debugger for Gno, right? We have to kind of have some core functionality inside the interpreter, inside the VM, to be able to set breakpoints, remove them, and continue with the execution. So yeah, we will be figuring.
Is there a point where people like, is there a pull request that you want to have the discussion that we should include here, or more of like a verbal discussion?
I think we should talk about this like on Discord maybe for now, and then we can have a separate ID channel, and then yeah.
So we
Once
need
we
to have an IDE channel, because we have 1 minute left before we, for some of you, or if you're watching, you don't join our company all hands, but we have to move to our next team meeting at this hour. There were some topics we haven't gotten to, so maybe I just quickly mention them, and unless you agree, disagree, we can add them to the next one. Pitar, well, he's not here, but he had talked about maybe wanting to give an update on the garbage collector. Jay, I don't know, but maybe next time we do an IBC update, if that sounds good. There was also the CLI refactor update. And then there seems like a pretty interesting, pretty interesting pull request from, I believe, Antonio on the modularize VM ops, which could be interesting for the next time discussion.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
We had a preview of the GC discussion this morning with the rest of the core team.
Okay.
So yeah, looking forward to share it with the community.
Okay. So, and as always, in 2 weeks, we'll reconnect. Hopefully Pitar will give us a joke and the GitHub agenda will be online. So if I am missing things, or there's things that you would like to cover, please add them there.